Are you a student who's concerned about getting long-term immigration status in the United States? Well, if that's you, and if you fear you could be harmed if you had to return to your country, then this video is for you. You see, as a student, you've actually got a big advantage in getting political asylum, which can allow you to live and work permanently in the United States and can even lead to a green card and American citizenship. I'm going to tell you why this is, why students are uniquely positioned to qualify for asylum. I'm Brian Manning and I'm a political asylum lawyer. I used to work for the government as an asylum officer, and now, as a lawyer, I use what I learned on the inside to help clients secure their future in America through asylum. If you've ever heard anything about asylum, then you know that it's complicated and that it's tough to get. And one of the reasons that many people who fear being harmed in their own country can't get asylum here is that they apply for it too late. When I was an asylum officer with the government, I saw people get denied time and time again because they were barred from asylum by a rule called the 1-year filing deadline. So what's that? Well, it basically says that you've got to apply for asylum within a year of coming to the United States. And if you don't apply during that first year, then you're barred from applying. So many people get rejected because of this rule because they don't even learn during their first year in the country about asylum as a possibility for getting protection, for getting sanctuary here in the United States. Or if they do know about it during their first year, they're just not in a position to apply for it in time. There can be many reasons why someone applies too late. And to be sure, this rule, the 1-year filing deadline, trips up lots of people. Now, there are a couple of exceptions to this rule that basically excuse a late filing. If you can show that one of the exceptions applies to you, then you can still be eligible for asylum despite that you're not applying during your first year in the country. In fact, it can be years or even decades later that you apply, as long as you meet the requirements for one of the exceptions. Now, one of the exceptions is called the extraordinary circumstances exception, and it excuses a late asylum application if you show that there was an extraordinary circumstance in place during your first year here and that you applied within a reasonable amount of time after that extraordinary circumstance ended. The regulations that govern the 1-year filing deadline list a few things that can count as extraordinary circumstances, and one of them is directly applicable to students. It says that an extraordinary circumstance can include a situation where, quote, the applicant maintained temporary protected status, lawful immigrant or non-immigrant status, or was given parole until a reasonable period before the filing of the asylum application. Now you'll notice that this doesn't explicitly reference students, but it does include people who have, quote, non-immigrant status. And if you're a student, well, that's probably you. Foreign students in the United States normally have an F1 visa, a J1 visa, or an M1 visa, and all of those give you non-immigrant status. So what's the upshot of this? What does it mean for you in practical terms? Well, if you're a student and you haven't fallen out of status or violated it, then you may be able to get asylum despite that you've been in the United States for more than a year. In fact, it doesn't matter if you've been here for years, like if you did your undergraduate studies here and are now working on graduate studies, for example. As long as you've maintained your immigration status, you won't be barred for applying for asylum by the 1-year filing deadline. And that's actually a huge advantage, especially considering that the 1-year filing deadline keeps so many people from getting asylum. Note that you can likely still benefit from this extraordinary circumstance and get around the 1-year filing deadline even if you're no longer a student, like if you recently finished your studies or had to stop going to school. As long as you apply within a reasonable amount of time after having lost your student status, you won't be barred by the 1-year filing deadline. What then is considered to be a reasonable amount of time? Well, this isn't spelled out in the law or regulations, but generally speaking, if you submit your asylum application within a couple months of losing your student status, that will probably be considered a reasonable amount of time, meaning they'll accept your application and won't reject you because of the 1-year filing deadline. But if it takes much longer for you to apply, like 3 months, it becomes more risky. There's a chance the asylum officer will decide that you did not file within a reasonable amount of time, meaning you could not get asylum. Beyond 3 months would really be pushing it, but you may be able to convince the officer that this is reasonable depending on the particular circumstances of your case. And briefly, another asylum advantage that students often have is the fact that they don't risk being deported if their asylum claim is not successful. Most people who apply for asylum do not have a valid immigration status at the time a decision is made in their case. They either came on a tourist visa that has long since expired, or they entered the country illegally and never had lawful status to begin with. In that situation, if the asylum office decides they're not eligible for asylum, well, it sends their case to immigration court, where the government is trying to deport them. But this does not happen where the asylum applicant still has lawful immigration status at the time a decision is made in their case. which is very often what happens with students who commonly have lawful status for years. In this case, if the asylum office does not grant asylum, it just issues a denial, but nothing further happens. They don't send the case to immigration court, and deportation proceedings are not initiated. So many students see a benefit in going ahead and applying for asylum well before their studies are to end, in hopes that they get a decision while they still have legal immigration status. To learn more about what it actually takes to qualify for asylum, check out the videos on the Manning Asylum Law Facebook page or the Manning Asylum Law YouTube channel. And if you've got questions about any of this, or you want to see if asylum could be a good fit for you, please do reach out to me. I'd love to see if I can help you. Just send a message to the Manning Asylum Law Facebook page, or leave a comment under a video, or call my office. Thanks, and I look forward to supporting you in your American immigration journey.